Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Gothenburg here in Sweden, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, which many of you might know is a really good beer city these days. And we're going to return to Stigbergets Bryggeri for this one, and we're having a taste of another one of their famous IPAs. So for this one we're having a taste of the amazing Haze, which comes in at 6.5%, rated 99 overall and within the style on Rate Beer, and this one is a double dry hopped Mosaic IPA, which should be really interesting. Mosaic, of course, is one of these really high alpha acid hops, which has some really interesting fruity characters. It's a nice kind of floral aromaticity as well, and a little bit of earthy character, which gives it that little bit of quirkiness. So this one should be a really interesting beer, and we do know that Stigbergets Bryggeri can make some really interesting IPAs. So I hope you guys enjoy this review, and I'm sure I'm going to enjoy tasting this beer. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Stigbergets reviews I've done before. I'm sure I'll add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever you're interested in. Do check out the whiskey and sake reviews, and as always, your support and input into the channel is hugely appreciated, and make sure you get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Stigbergets Bryggeri, so as I mentioned to you, these guys are based in Gothenburg, or Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, and they were founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson. So the pair actually own two bars that share one kitchen. This is Bar Kino and Hagebjörn's Cafe, which are both located on Linnegatan in the city, and they opened back in 2007. And originally the idea was that they wanted to have a few beers that they could sell in the bars, and this actually led to them kegging their beers and selling it to other pubs before they eventually started bottling the beers in November 2014. So the original beers were mainly kind of English and German styles, but more recently they began experimenting and expanding into the more hoppy American styles of beer. So they started out with a 1,000 litre brew kit from Slovakia, but they've recently upgraded to a 2,000 litre JTM system from Denmark in December 2015, and apparently they want to double this capacity whenever they can actually afford to do it, with more kind of fermentation tanks and things. But Niels and Richard are joined at the brewery by two brewers, one of whom of course is Ole Andersson from OO Brewing, another very good brewery company actually, and they've got another three people there as well who deal with logistics, packaging and the various other tidbits around the brewery. So these guys are very highly regarded in Swedish craft beer circles, and if you want to get into kind of Gothenburg craft beer, then these guys are a very solid place to start. OO Brewing of course are another one that you really will enjoy if you just pick a style that you like personally. So yeah, and these guys have got about 12 or 13 different beers available at the moment. They're always kind of experimenting with their range and stuff, as are OO Brewing of course, but really good brewery, and like I say, make sure you check them out if you find yourself in Gothenburg. But let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. As I say, if you want to learn more about the brewery or the other beers that they do, you can check out the link to them in the description below. But let me just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork again. There you can see the Stigbergets symbol, this kind of nice old style handwriting. This one's got a bit more of a kind of simple label than some of the other ones from Stigbergets, but nicely presented. And there you can see the typical Stigbergets bottle cap on this one. It says on the side here, contains corn malt and wheat malt. So yeah, I guess this will be why these Stigbergets beers always have that nice kind of bready malt base in it. It doesn't say that much else, it's just got the address and things, and it says best before the 26th of April 2017, so it's well in date. So let's get this guy open then and we'll get on with the tasting. Really looking forward to this one. So nice smoky opening on this one, a little bit of bubbles rushing towards the top, and I tell you something, you can really smell some of these nice tropical fruits on this beer as you open up the bottle. And it's poured just in the same way that the GBG Beer Week one did. It looks very nice. It almost looks kind of just like a sort of pineapple-y or tropical fruit juice. There's a good few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass on this one, and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head, which incidentally is a pretty kind of pure white head, I would say. It's not even beigey at all. It really is a pure white head on this beer. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there's not really much in the way of transparency to this one. This beer is very opaque actually. So let's have a closer look at the aroma then and see how we get on. That's really interesting, Mosaic. yeah, it's got a really kind of tropical fruity thing going on. There's maybe a little bit of kind of orange or tangerine thing underpinning it, but it smells like sort of mangoes, kind of papaya or something like that. It's got this nice kind of light, juicy tropical fruit in this. I don't think I've ever had a Mosaic single IPA, so this one makes it really quite interesting. I read that some people think that this hop can have blueberries and stuff in it. I don't really pick up much of that in this. Really for me it's more mangoes and papaya, maybe a bit of passion fruit in this one as well. But yeah, no, it really does smell more like, I think maybe more mangoes and papaya coming out of this one. Maybe a little bit of pineapple or something. But it's really interesting just to see this hop on its own and examine it properly. But it smells absolutely love, this beer. It's got a very juicy aroma to it. Yeah, so there's a bit of grassiness coming out of this one as well. Again, that's another characteristic of the Mosaic hop. But I really can, once my nose adjusts to it a little bit, I can really kind of detect this kind of orange, juicy character that's just underpinning those tropical notes. I think there's mangoes in here, like I say, papaya, not quite peaches. I don't think it's quite sharp enough for peaches, but maybe there is a sort of pineapple note coming out of this one as well. It's got a really interesting tropical fruit aroma though, so just pay attention to this one and enjoy the aromas of it before you try it. That's half the experience with craft beer, of course. Just enjoy the smell before you actually get stuck into it. But there's a nice kind of white bready malt. You can smell that wheat malt that they've put into this a little bit too. Not picking up much else from the malt base though. The focus on this one really is on the nice kind of tropical juicy hops. Not even getting much of a floral character out of this one. It really is just big and fruity, and there's a bit of kind of grassiness in there as well. So overall it is a really quite nice smelling beer, this one. So just take a bit of time and enjoy that for yourselves. But we are going to get stuck into this beer now. So this one is the Amazing Haze, another one of the IPAs from Stigbergets Bryggeri up in Gothenburg. Skål! Oh yeah, that's another cracking IPA from these guys. You can tell that just on the first taste. This one has a completely different feel to the likes of the GBG beer week, and of course the O.O. Narangi, which is kind of related. It's the same brewer that brews these, of course. So it's always interesting to talk about that a little bit when it comes to this brewery. But that's lovely. This one, you know, this one has a really nice kind of floral bite to it. I love when IPAs have this big kind of floral character to them. This one's got a quite dark and slightly spicy floral character to it. You can really feel that start to come out in the aftertaste. That really just goes right around this kind of edge of the palate. This is what, in my experience, this is the kind of trademark of the Mosaic hop. It has this dark, almost spicy floral aromaticity, and at the back corners of my palate I'm also getting the little bit of earthiness that again is the trademark of the Mosaic hop. This is a really good beer, but you know, with the experiences I've had from Stigbergets, I wouldn't expect anything less when it comes to these IPA styles. These guys have got this style pretty much nailed. But yeah, this is damn good. If you get the chance to try this beer, I do recommend that you do it. Anything, if you ever see an IPA from Stigbergets, give it a go, because it will be pretty damn good. And the same goes for O.O. Brewing as well. So with this one, as I say, you've got that big dark floral character to it, a little bit of spiciness in there, some earthiness in the back corners of the palate. The beer is a little bit more light and grassy around the front curve of the tongue. It comes across very differently in the actual flavour than it does in the aroma. In the aroma it smells like it's going to be a more juicy, kind of fruity beer, but really it leans more towards these big floral characters. I'm not sure there's much in the way of a kind of pine resin on this one. This one really is more dark and floral, like I said, but the flavour is completely different from the aroma. So the middle of your palate, you've got a nice sort of bready character. You can feel a little bit of the pale malt there, but then on top of that there's a thicker kind of breadiness to the beer. There's maybe a little bit of a kind of grainy character, maybe a very slight toasty grainy character to the malt base in this one. But overall, this is another trademark of Stigbergets. I find that their malt bases in the IPAs tend to be kind of quite simple, straightforward and smooth. It really is just a bit of bready character. And then it's the complexity with these beers is always in the hoppy side of things. But this is a single hopped beer, and the Mosaic, of course, does have quite a bit of complexity just on its own. This is really good. So yeah, if you want to pick up the fruity characteristics, just pay a little bit of attention to the little oily bubble that will appear behind the front curve of your tongue there. So you've got a nice bit of juicy fruit in there. It's a strong citrus for this one. There is a bit of tropical fruit in there, maybe a little bit of grapefruit just underpinning that. On top of it, maybe there's a little bit of a kind of blood orange or tangerine. There's a sharp, a kind of quite sharp orangey citrus in there. It's these kind of stronger, more oily fruits that are underpinning this one at the start, but then as you progress into the aftertaste, you can feel those lingering there, but you do start to get more of the lighter tropical notes, you know. Not quite sure it's mango in this one. I think maybe it's kind of papaya, maybe a bit of lychee in there as well, just coming out later on. But I'm not quite sure about that. I think there's definitely a bit of papaya in there. Not mangoes, maybe a little bit of pineapple as well, but the main point is that you're getting these kind of lighter, juicier tropical fruits rather than the kind of stronger things like you normally get, you know, the oily kind of passion fruit and grapefruit that you can normally get from these hops. So this is a really interesting beer in that regard. There's some nice fruity flavours on this one that come out later in the aftertaste that you might not come across in many other beers just because of the hop mixes and things. But I tell you something, as I've said, it's damn good, this beer. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. If I could try this on tap, you know, that's a craft beer geek's dream. But this is really nice. But yeah, the kind of defining characteristic of this beer for me is that big, dark floral aromaticity, and of course the complexity that you get from the fruits and a little bit of earthiness as well. So it's really cool to think about this beer and just try Mosaic on its own, because it is becoming an increasingly popular hop. So this is a good beer to kind of appreciate the full flavour profile that this hop can give you, and you know, it's damn good. This is a really good beer. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this one is actually, it's maybe even pushing towards the full body thing. To me, this beer feels a little bit thicker and oily, and even in comparison to some of the other Stigbergets things I've had before, it just feels that little bit thicker than the other ones I've had from these guys. But that doesn't, you know, that doesn't do it down in any way whatsoever. It's got a lovely smooth malt base to it. There's not much in the way of sweetness from it. There's a good hoppy bitterness there. There's almost a little bit of spicy character in it as well. But there's a lot of nice juicy fruits. But really, the kind of lingering characteristic of this beer is the big floral aromaticity and that nice bitter character that comes out of it. But overall, this is another damn good beer from Stigbergets, and as I say, if you're interested in the Mosaic hop, then this is a really good one to help you appreciate the full flavour profile that can give you. So yeah, if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do. If you enjoyed the Narangi from OO, if you enjoyed the GBG Beer Week from Stigbergets as well, then these are the sort of beers. If you like kind of East Coast American IPAs, it's a style I need to get more into myself, admittedly, but if you like these kind of East Coast IPA style beers from America, then this is one that you certainly are going to enjoy. So yeah, thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. I hope you enjoyed this one. As always, let me know your own thoughts on this beer and the brewery in the comment section below. It's always interesting to hear from you guys that are watching the videos. So until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Make sure you check out Stigbergets Bryggeri up from Gothenburg here in Sweden. These guys are producing some really good stuff at the moment. Thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you very soon. The Amazing Haze, a double dry hopped Mosaic IPA from Gothenburg here in Sweden. Slange just now, and I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Cheers.